Hey everyone, we're going to dive into Bitcoin today and take a look at the breakdown that occurred yesterday. And if you've been following our videos on the channel, you should have been staying on the right side of the trade here, as we predicted that we were going to fall and correct down to lower levels before we challenged any higher prices. And we also said that if we break down from this level very clearly, because of this level of consolidation, then we're likely to see a violent breakdown, and that is exactly what we got. So let's have a look at some of the levels down below us where we're likely to see support and a bounce. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to say here is we had predicted that this consolidation pattern would break to the downside, but apparently there has been some news attached to this, as Kraken have been fined by the SEC and now they can't do staking. But you know, if you follow the charts, I didn't even know that news had even occurred until this morning. You know, the charts will show you the news. You don't need to follow the news and then take trades based off that. That's just a load of noise. If you followed the technicals, you should have been able to follow this move. And you can see that we spoke about the DXY and how this impulsive move, okay, and this deviation that we saw is likely to put pressure on Bitcoin. And that's exactly what we've seen. And we also said that they don't have to move parallel to each other on exactly the same day or the same week. It's more about gauging the momentum of how the DXY moves, and that allows Bitcoin to either move up or makes it more likely for Bitcoin to move up when the DXY is moving down. And you can see that now that the DXY has come down to this upper trend line, you can see that basically we're now just consolidating with some strength. And you can see that even these small upper moves on the DXY on the smaller term time frame charts, okay, are showing us that we're looking to potentially take out this high. And if we move above 103 into that 104 region and we reclaim this level on the DXY, okay, and we basically move back into this level, okay, and we reclaim a range that we've lost, this is likely going to put more pressure on Bitcoin. So if you see more follow through, okay, on the DXY, all right, let's just get rid of the charts here. And you can see that, like I said, if we break into this level, okay, and Bitcoin does not make a move immediately, okay, and it still tends to loiter here and it's correcting, you can see that it's correcting and moving into this sort of level where we might retest or back test some previous support, which is now resistance, and you see that strength in the dollar, then you should expect, okay, Bitcoin to basically move down to some of these lower levels, and that's how you can use the DXY to give you that edge in the market for where Bitcoin is going to go next. And I don't think big institutions are going to allow Bitcoin to go straight up to $30,000 with zero pullback. I think the most likely outcome, like I said, this year is going to be sideways accumulation. The big players need to buy Bitcoin, and that's what we all want to see, a sideways consolidation pattern, a bottoming pattern, before we can actually move into these higher price targets, because we need all the buyers to load up before we go on to that next run. And you can see again down here we've got order blocks which are untapped. We've got areas of price down here again, which I think is a good chance that we're going to hit this year at about 18.6k. So definitely levels that I think that we're likely to stay range bound for the rest of the year. And this narrative of crackdown on exchanges, the SEC stepping in, is probably the exact narrative that we need to probably fill some of these fair value gaps and these voids in the price, which I've been speaking about. Because just when you think that things are going to just go straight off into the moon and everything's going to shoot straight to the upside, okay, you get some sort of rug pull, and that's basically how that works. And guys, I've said to you, these upper price targets of $24,000, $26,000 do not end up buying here into these big wicks, okay? Because remember, you do not want your buying liquidity to be someone else's selling liquidity, okay, where they're pushing the price up, they see that they're getting a price that they want, and all these people who bought down here, okay, and who've been holding longs for quite a long time, they're able to then sell onto you, and then you're holding their bags waiting for this next move to 26k, and that doesn't occur for a long time, many months most likely, and then we just move sideways, and then you guys just end up selling down here, okay, and then they're going to buy back from you over here and then take it to the upside, okay? You have to think like smart money, okay? Smart money is not going to just come in and just all of a sudden just buy after a 50% move up. There is probably going to be some sort of narrative, like I said, with these exchanges, which is likely manipulated in one way or another. Depends how you want to look at it. But essentially, it's just another story for getting price to do the same thing that it's always going to do, which is basically going to be allowing the big players to accumulate in these ranges, okay, and then setting the price to higher levels when the time is right. But like I said, I still don't think that is quite yet. So here's 3 scenarios that I want you to be aware of for Bitcoin and how this might play out in the next few weeks. Bitcoin has just seen a 40% run up in 1 month, which is one of its best historic months ever. So you should not expect another 40% month straight after that. You should expect some sort of correction, or at least some sort of sideways action after such an impulsive move. So the first scenario is that we're going to touch and tap into this order block over here, which has been the most likely scenario for a long time. And then within that, we have this order block just over here, which is the level of price that basically broke out before the impulsive candle at about $21,200. So it's this level over here. So if we see Bitcoin come into this level, snap into support, then it gives us a good shot of at least retesting some of these levels above us, and re-challenging about 22.6, 22.3 from the area that we broke down from. So this is definitely one area and one scenario that I'm looking out for in the next few weeks. So you can take this for a long over here, in my opinion, and probably put a stop loss over here. Okay, if you think that Bitcoin is going to continue higher, this is one level to look for. And then potentially, if we're able to reclaim this range on a daily or a weekly time frame, and we can move back here, then this is probably just going to be retested support, deviation, move back to the upside. So that's one way that I would look at this. The second way that I would look at this is that if we do not get continuation in the short term, I think that there is definitely a possibility that we can move up back into this level at 22.5, which I'll be looking for potential short entries. I think that if we move into this level at 22.5 immediately, in the next day or so, particularly on the weekend, and we can create some kind of gap in the CME chart opening up on the Sunday. So by that, I mean, if you see on a Saturday or Sunday that price is starting to move into this level, when prices close down here today on a Friday, it's going to create a gap in price. So if we move up to here, okay, I would expect Bitcoin to again get slammed down from here, okay, and move onto some of these lower targets. So that would also represent a move of about let's have a look on Fibonacci. Yeah, you can see that basically the 382 is somewhere around this level, and if we take a look at the Fibonacci just from the start of this impulse, then the 618 and the 0.5 is also around these levels. So common areas for prices to retrace to. So I'm definitely looking as this as a possible level, and then you've got this order block that you can tag here as well. So this is the level that we broke down from. Okay, clear support resistance flip potential here, and then if that comes into this level, I'll be looking to basically push down into this level again, and then see if we can bid support at this point over here. The other scenario that I'll be looking at for the short term is some of these gap fills and these voids in price. Okay, I think the most obvious one would be somewhere here at about $20,000 to about 19.7. You can see that basically we might get some kind of wick all the way down here. So if we move up into this area and then start to consolidate here, and we're not able to basically confirm a area of support here, and then we basically turn this into historical horizontal resistance, okay, and then we move further down, I would be looking for levels at about 19.7, okay, $1,000. And you can see that in the past, okay, we've also seen quite a bit of horizontal price action here. So I would look to see if Bitcoin can take some bids down there. And also it would be, lows always tend to get swept at some point. So you can see that when we reach these levels over here, 90% of the time, people know, market makers know that there is a lot of liquidity resting underneath here because everyone's stop losses are under here. Where do you think the last set of stop losses are going to be from the upside? It's going to be this level over here, okay? These levels are probably, they're coming for you basically. If you're holding spot or you're holding any positions and you've got stops here and then we start to come into this level, you should not be surprised if at least there is some sort of deviation of this level, okay, and then a tap into some of these fair value gaps, okay, before another, again, move higher. And again, we know that the CME gap is somewhere around this level at about 19.6 to $20,000, so we have a lot of confluence in that area. So if your stop losses are here, I just want you to be careful. And again, we've also got some pretty interesting Fibonacci targets to line up with that. So if we just take some of these levels and take a look at, do they line up? Yes, they do. The 0.5 again is somewhere at about 19.8, and then we've even got this $18.82,000, which we can still move in the short term. And like I said, if the DXY continues to show strength, then it is going to result in at least like a 15 to 20% correction in Bitcoin, and that still takes us to some of these lower targets down here, where this is the 1, that's the 2, that's the 3. And if you think that in the short term we're basically going to move down into some of these other Fibonacci targets, and I think that there's another level down here about 19.3 before we move up to like 28k. Okay, definitely a possibility, right? But if we do take a look at this again on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that there are just a few order blocks which, even if we tap into here, we're still going to stay above this, so that would not invalidate the 1. And that does set us up for a potential moving into the spring summer at about $28,000, $30,000, which is the larger target to aim for. Because remember, we know that markets moves in waves and 2s and 3s, and we want some really clear 1, 2, 3, and then a 4 somewhere down into here, wherever this correction is going to end, and then a move higher. So your real test, your last line of defense, in my opinion, is going to be somewhere over here into this level. If we get a weekly close, like I mentioned, and we move back down into the range that we broke down from, if we wick into it, I think that this is still okay, and then we move straight back up, because again, that's just retesting of order blocks, right? That's completely valid. But if we start to close down here on some higher time frames, the daily, the 3-day, and even the weekly, then it's telling you that Bitcoin is in trouble, and we're definitely going to retest some of these lows and possibly even lower. So that is my verdict and my targets for Bitcoin in the short term. So I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down below where you think Bitcoin is headed next. I'll catch you guys in the next video.